Today, I'm bringing you my review of Tomb Raider, Legend of Lara Croft, and to be honest, it was a big disappointment. Why? Let's break it down. The first thing that really stood out to me is how weak and predictable the story is. It's basically a massive déjà vu, recycled ideas with no freshness at all. Magical stones? Feels like Infinity Stones all over again. Ancient spirits? The same overused trope. There's no interesting variation or unique twist. I was hoping for something new, but it all just feels like a repetitive retread of what we've seen before. As for the characters, let's start with Zip. In Tomb Raider Legend, Zip was fun, refreshing, and brought some much-needed energy. Here, he's just an annoying third wheel, more of a distraction than an asset. Then there's Jonah. Completely unnecessary in my opinion. Jonah is supposed to be Lara's friend, but he comes across more like her weak conscience. He's poorly written, shallow, and instead of addressing her psychological struggles meaningfully, he just glosses over them with shallow rationalizations. This brings us to the psychologization of the characters. And it's a disaster. It feels like the show wants to explore deep psychological issues, but it doesn't know how to. Characters throw around lines like, "let go," or "if you want to continue, you have to move on." But there's no real emotional depth. It's like they're trying to sound deep, but it falls flat and superficial. Now, let's talk about Lara Croft herself. In my opinion, she's at her best when she's confident, cracking jokes, dual-wielding pistols, and commenting on ancient traps and treasures. She's like a mix of Ethan Hunt, Indiana Jones with a bit of James Bond's charisma when needed. But that's all gone here. This Survivor version of Lara, following the reboot trilogy, could have been interesting, but she's just too depressing and one-dimensional. She's always fanatically focused on her goal, rarely cheerful, and most importantly, she lacks the emotional range that would make her compelling. When it comes to her physique, let me be clear. I have nothing against muscular women or women bodybuilders. Many female bodybuilders have an amazing feminine physique. In fact, many female bodybuilders look more like classic Lara than this character does. But this version of Lara just looks off. Instead of having a well-defined, powerful yet feminine physique, her body looks almost distorted, with unclear or strange animation choices. And her face, it reminds me too much of Korra from Legend of Korra, who also had depressive phases and a poorly developed psychological arc. As for the animation, it's solid, but nothing impressive. But the plot? Oh, the plot. It's so frustrating at times. Let's talk about the magical stones that supposedly cause chaos in the world. What are they? What's going on? No one even tries to explain what these stones are, how they work, or why they destabilize the world. Here's a theory I came up with. What if these stones are actually Higgs field destabilizers? They could be disrupting the fundamental forces at a local level, causing imbalances in the world. Something like this would have been a fantastic explanation, adding a sci-fi twist and depth to the plot. But nope, we get nothing. And now, we come to one of my biggest criticisms. The use of mythology in this show is shallow and purely exploitative. If, in the next season, Lara goes to Egypt and meets gods like Anubis or Ra, and once again doesn't ask any questions about the nature of these gods or the implications of their existence, then it's pure exploitation. The characters don't ask any questions, no specific or general ones. They don't reflect on what it all means. Shouldn't someone, at least once, wonder, is it possible that one mythology is real and the others aren't? What does this mean for reality and history? Are these gods, aliens, or remnants of ancient technologies? Asking these kinds of questions would add depth to the story, but no. The characters just move through the plot without any reflection. I think this is a missed opportunity to at least raise a few intriguing philosophical or scientific questions. Without that, the mythology is reduced to empty tropes with no real meaning. In conclusion, if you've never played the Tomb Raider games and you're about 11 years old, you might find this series entertaining. But if you're a longtime fan or expect even a slightly more serious approach, this is a huge letdown. The show feels like something a middle school class project could have created, and in that case, I'd say, well done. But as a serious production, it's barely worth a 2 out of 10. The show had potential, but the characters, the story, and the use of mythology, it all just falls flat. But hey, look at the bright side. There are so many more better shows out there. So, have a nice day. Oh, and please subscribe, I really need it. Thanks.